Olá, camaradas! Tudo bem com vocês? Estamos em mais um episódio do podcast Desmarketize-se. Que prazer estar aqui com vocês hoje. Vocês sabem, se você acompanha esse podcast, você sabe que eu tô sempre aqui conversando com mentes brilhantes por trás de grandes marcas, não é isso? Mas hoje aqui eu quero fazer um parêntesezinho nessa temporada, porque eu trouxe um convidado diferente. Eu trouxe aqui uma pessoa que não está por trás de uma grande marca, mas está por trás de várias marcas e negócios pelo mundo. O seu nome é Neil Patel e ele é um dos maiores especialistas de marketing digital do mundo. Veja aqui na descrição desse vídeo todo o extenso currículo dele, eu tenho certeza que você vai se impressionar.
Ninguém aguenta mais o marketing que parece marketing. Se você tem clientes, esse podcast é para você. Desmarketize-se!
Neil, thanks a lot for being here. It's a big pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Só explicando para quem estiver assistindo a gente aqui, agora esse episódio, você tá falando aqui em português comigo, né? Eu vou mudar para o inglês, mas você pode ir acompanhando no vídeo aqui com a legenda em português para você ir acompanhando, tá? Tem aqui no vídeo, mesmo no Spotify tem vídeo, no YouTube, aonde você estiver assistindo tem um videozinho aí. Espero que você goste muito. Vamos nessa! So, Neil, thanks a lot. It's a big pleasure to receive you here. Have you seen the scenario here? It's like with less marketing.
I love it. It's just like your book, Taking Away the Marketing.
Oh, so this
it.
is the book, Stop Marketing, Desmarketize-se. This is a gift for you,
Thank
just to
you.
start.
This is awesome. Appreciate
It's
it.
still only in Portuguese, but
It's okay.
one day we'll get there.
Yeah. One day I'll learn Portuguese.
Or one day I'll launch it in English.
That works too.
So, Neil, I heard that you are really excited about digital marketing, search engine, content.
Yeah.
I told you that I asked ChatGPT for controversial phrases of Neil Patel, and I got many, right?
You asked him for 10 and you got more than 10.
Yes. Then I asked for more 10 and more 10. Do you have a preferred one?
No? Go for it.
Okay. Is content king?
I don't know about that. I always like saying content is not king. And the reason I say that is, did you know 4.6 billion pieces of content get published on the internet each day?
Whoa.
Text, video, images, audio, the list goes on and on. And if you think about it, in 2 days, more content is being published than the number of people in the world.
Wow.
When we crawled the social web, we crawled around 5 million posts on some of the most popular social sites. Less than 58% of them got engagement. That means 58% got no likes, no shares, no comments, no engagement. Now, the algorithms only show you what other people like and what is getting some traction because they don't want to show you the stuff that no one likes or else you'll stop using these platforms. And when we also, with our tool Ubersuggest, when we start crawling Google, we track over 7 billion keywords. More than 90% of the pages have gotten zero traffic from Google in the last 30 days that are
More
in
than
their index.
90%.
More than
Wow.
90%. It just shows that creating content doesn't mean or guarantee success, but what you need to focus on is promoting the content, assuming it's amazing.
Yeah, doing great content and then planning around it. Let's see. I know you have been in Brazil several times. You have been in many cities, right? So let me ask something to check if you really know
All right.
Brazil. Do you know what is pamonha?
No.
Pamonha. It's a sweet food made of corn.
Ah,
So it's something very regional that we like it in every place in Brazil. But the story behind pamonha is that it was born with a marketing technique that is very well known in Brazil. There is a car going around the houses with a speaker screaming loudly, pamonha, pamonha, pamonha. And this is how we get to know that the seller of pamonha is around us and we get
go
out of
buy.
the house and go to buy.
it's like what they do in America for ice cream trucks.
Yeah, maybe. So
Yeah.
we don't have many cases or many products being sold like this in Brazil. Pamonha really owns this media channel, okay? But reality is that when we are at home, I mean, you don't want to be bothered with somebody screening in your
No.
window, etc., right? So what I see today is that people doing in the digital world some things that are similar to the Pamonha car. So they are just trying to multiply content and interrupt you and annoy you and multiply the presence of their logos and trying to scream and scream and scream. Pamonha has sold in the past a lot with this technique, but today we have better ways of doing that, right?
I agree. And look, I consider that good marketing. Good marketing stands out, but great marketing doesn't even look like marketing. And the key is to build great marketing. And I'll give you an example, and you know this because you worked at McDonald's. One of the best things I've seen McDonald's do in an ad campaign is they had, it's not called a billboard, but they actually put something out there, kind of like a billboard, and it smelled like McDonald's French fries.
Yes, I saw it.
And then people want to start eating McDonald's French fries. I'm like, oh, that's a really cool.
Just because of the smell.
Yes.
I used to say this is a result of the consistency, right?
Yeah.
So when you go to a stand-up comedy show, many times the artist take the mic, he says only 3 bad words. There was no joke, and everybody's laughing. Why? Because you saw so many jokes of these artists that just by looking at the comedian, you're already laughing.
Yeah.
Because you remember. So
Yes.
when you smell McDonald's cheese, you remember the experiences you had. But you need to be very consistent to get to this point, right? So in digital marketing, what would you recommend for somebody that is trying to sell Pamonha, but is not willing to put a car screaming in the streets? They want to sell something only to people that wants the Pamonha. How would you do?
I would actually go look to see where the demand is. Instead of spending all the money screaming on the streets, Pamonha, at this point, people are already familiar with the brand. Or if they're not familiar with the brand, they may have the problem. And you got to figure out, A, is your solution better than others? And B, can you do it in a more efficient way or a more cost-effective way? So then you look to see where those problems are. Are people typing them on Google? Are they searching on social media for the answers? Are they going to Q&A sites? Right? Are they already paying a competitor, but they don't solve the problem and they don't really do exactly what you do, but maybe you can partner with them and they can cross-sell your product for you? There's a lot of ways to skin the cat, but the way you have to really think about it is problem and solution selling. Don't just try to scream and convince people to buy your product or service. Look to see who has a problem that you can help and go and help them. That's the best way to generate revenue.
Is it the reason why small companies tend to have a better result in the internet than big companies? Because they can focus on specific problems and specific groups of people that have a need?
I think small companies have it easier because A, they're starting with less baggage, less history. So it's easier for them to create any new campaign they want without red tape. And B, when you're a newer, smaller company, you tend not to have as many products or services. So you don't have to do marketing for 100 different things. It just makes it easier.
So being focused is an advantage. Now, I heard the other day you saying that people are on average in more than 5 social networks, and we should be present in all of them. Would you really recommend for any brand to be present in all the social networks to talk to customers, or try to focus on few ones where you can make it better?
So you are spot on. The average person is on more than 6 social networks according to Demand Sage. And the way social networks work is not that someone just uses Facebook. They use Facebook, they use Instagram, they use TikTok, they use X, they use YouTube. The list goes on and on. They may use some social networks more than others and some less than others. But they're on them nonetheless. And when you post on social media or you advertise, not all your followers or not all your ideal customers will see your ad or see your content. So ideally, you should leverage as many as possible where your ideal customers are on. But here's the catch. There's not enough time in the day. So you repurpose. By repurposing, you can capture a lot of the audience without having to continually reinvent the wheel. At the beginning, though, it's hard and too hard to do it for all 6 networks plus networks when you're starting off. So I would recommend to start with 1 or 2, get it scaled, get it going well, take your learnings, apply it to the next 1 or 2 social networks, then continually expand until you hit 6, 7, 8, 9 social networks.
But how to choose the first one to start?
Think of it as spaghetti. You know spaghetti's cooked when you throw it against the wall and it sticks, right?
Yes.
So think of the same thing with your marketing. Try 5 or 6 social networks. The one that is giving you the most traction and looks the most promising, stick with that one and ignore the rest until you scale it all up.
Cool. And talking about social networks, I see that when I wrote the book, I did a study trying to understand the brands versus people presence in Instagram. Out of the 25 most followed accounts in the world, we have only 2 brands that are present there. We have Nike and we have National Geographic, but they are not among the top 10. We just have people. Is it because of the algorithm, because of it is a social network, or because the brands didn't understand the game?
I think it's neither. I think the real reason is people relate to people better than they relate to brands. And I think that's why they do well on the social networks. Social networks push the brands, but if people don't want to follow them, they don't want to follow them. We all can relate to people. Look at the new Mark Zuckerberg. A lot of people hated the old Mark Zuckerberg. Now, this guy's wearing gold chains. He has curly hair going. Whether you like the new Mark Zuckerberg or not, he's more authentic. He's more real. You can relate to him. That's why he does well.
That's why people follow more Zuckerberg than Apple brand. Or there are many brands in Brazil where we can see that there are, the owners of the brand are more followed, are more engaged than the brand's page, right?
Yep.
But also I see many brands doing content like new products, promoted price, new products, promoted price. And this not only doesn't look like a person, but it looks like you are just interested in my money.
Yeah, and you're not adding any value. It's hard to engage when you're just selling all the time.
What would you do? Is creating a conversation, it's
creating a conversation, yes, but provide value 90+% of the times. Think about how you can help people 9 times and then sell once. So out of 10 times you're selling once, you're helping 9 times.
Cool.
Like I was just at an event at LinkedIn, and someone's like, why would someone open up my email? We sell pain products, like pills to get rid of pain. I said, well, a pill can help reduce the pain, but it doesn't solve the root cause. What was the root cause? Well, there's a lot of things that could be the root cause. It could be lifestyle, it could be eating, and they go on and on. So I was like, so why don't you send out emails and create marketing material on how people can reduce their pain without medication? And you can say medication is fine, and we provide it. But that should be the last resort. The first resort should be fixing the choices you're making in life, or adjusting the choices you're making in life so that way you don't have pain. That way you don't need the medication. If you take that approach and you help people, then when you sell the medication and people need it, not only are they going to look to your brand because they remember it, but they're going to trust you.
I love the example. I heard once that an elevator company was trying to communicate to their customers that actually elevators were made not to be used. So we are here just for people that really need. We are here for people that are disabled or they cannot go through the stairs, but we should be using stairs. And I found it really like, wow, an elevator company, instead of making it a big noise about you need to have an elevator in your house. Yeah. They are saying, no. We are here for people that really need it, but we believe that you should take stairs. And this kind of honesty or being more authentic, it connects differently, right?
And I think those are the companies that are going to succeed the best in their marketing. Look at what you did to McDonald's and the name change. It was just authentic. People could relate to it more.
It's putting a little less marketing in that, making it more real. Now, does it have a limit? Because you also know that any product has things that they don't like very much, right? Yeah. Even a water company say, you know what, we sell water, but we have plenty of plastic bottles in the world that we don't know what to do with it. Any company, they have this, I need to choose what to say, what not to say. In the past, they were saying only the perfect things,
But now you can also get the community involved. You have a lot of plastic bottles. Look, we all know plastic is not the best for the environment. As a water company, we have other alternatives, glass, but some people choose plastic, so we make the plastic. But we have all these bottles now. We want to work with you, the community, to come up with ideal solutions, so then that way we're making the earth a better place. Everyone submit your ideas. The best idea wins X dollars, X prize, we'll fund it, whatever it may be. You can do a lot of stuff to bring the community together, involve them, and use it to help generate more sales and revenue in the long run.
Let's talk more about communities then. How can a brand build a community like this without giving the impression that I'm just using you? I'm using you to do the work I should be doing. I'm using you to advertise my product. How can you really build a group of people that are your friends and they represent you not because you're paying them or because you are threatening them, but because they really want to do that?
Yeah, it comes down to authenticity. If you're just authentic and people can relate, it just makes it easier. If they can't, then it's hard. I think marketing at this point, there's just so much of it and people just shoving it down our throats. The ones who are authentic and real just tend to do better. Sometimes people hate you for it, but I think majority of the time you'll win. Do I think Mark Zuckerberg's new appearance is cool? No, but it's authentic and real. And I can relate more to him being the way he is, even though I don't care for his look. I'm not trying to say that in a mean way, but I relate to it much more than his more robotic demeanor and look that he had in the past.
I have the impression that brands that talk to the younger generation, they are making this movement first. Yes. Because the younger generation, they relate more with authenticity than my generation. Is it correct?
We're seeing the younger people move for the younger generations quicker, but the older generations care about the authenticity, the relationships, the brand, made in Brazil or made in America. They actually do care about a lot of this stuff. It's just we take it for granted because we're like, oh, we already have that market. We've had it for ages. We've marketed to them for ages. It's easy. It's not necessarily easy to go after that audience. It's just that a lot of companies have had it because they've been marketing to them when they were much younger and they grew up with them throughout their corporation.
Yes. Now let's move to another topic, which is the hottest topic of the moment, right? AI. What are you really using AI for, Neil?
The biggest thing we use it for in marketing is something boring and ugly that no one really cares or talks about too much. We do use it for content creation, but not as the way most people think. The real way we use AI, and then I'll go into the content creation, but the biggest way we use AI is data analytics. There's over $100 billion of wasted spend on digital ads each and every single year. It's a lot of money. Imagine having all your data in one simple place and having AI help analyze it in real time and give you feedback. It's not always accurate, but it gives you good feedback. And then you go and adjust from there. You can then make better marketing decisions, have a better ROI, and have way less wastage. The other thing we use it for is content creation. So we still work with them, University of Technical Institute, amazing university in the United States. Instead of having AI write content, they have campuses all over the US. We had AI do research on all the cities around where they have campuses. We then pass it to a human, and then the human started creating their own content. But the AI saved quite a bit of time, right? And those are two simple examples of using AI. In today's world, where most people think about what ad campaign can it create for me? What, image can it create for social, instead of just thinking about what's boring and ugly that I can do to help me generate more income.
So I have the impression that AI is being used first for efficiency, for cost reduction, for this dirty work that you mentioned. But I also have the impression that the second step, at least in marketing, will be making things more personalized or more segmented, more to the individual.
Which AI will help for, because there's too many people to personalize your campaigns, especially if you're a big organization. But what we're finding is with AI, a lot of big organizations first started using it to just help with content costs and automating mundane tasks to save money. We did a test with a little bit more than 1.8 million visitors. With a third of the traffic, the content was all written by humans. A lot of articles, thousands of articles. But with a third of the traffic, we put written by AI at the top instead of the author bio at the top. The content was still written by a human. We just changed the author bio to say written by AI and nothing else. the read time dropped by roughly a half.
Wow.
People don't care for AI content as much as we think. Why? Because it lacks the emotions, the authenticity that human written content has. You can try to fake it, it's still not the same.
But is it temporary? I mean, are we going to get there?
Maybe in 3 to 5 years, maybe, but I still think human content is going to be the most valuable. And the reason I say that is, let's go back in time. Let's think COVID.
Okay.
Mark Zuckerberg posted something literally the other day saying that the government pressured Facebook to censor some of the things when it related to COVID. The government wanted a specific narrative. I'm paraphrasing here. I may be putting a little bit words in their mouth, but they wanted a specific story to be told and they didn't want certain things to appear, right? What were those things? Zuckerberg did not provide context. If you look at Brazil, forget the United States, look at Brazil for a moment, because we're here. In Brazil, when COVID first came, everyone wanted the vaccine. Majority of people wanted it. You fast forward to today, you can get booster shots at the pharmacy, right?
Yes.
Most people don't even go to the pharmacy to take a booster shot. If there was an audience of 100 people and I asked people to raise their hands who keeps getting booster shots, maybe 1 or 2 would raise their hand and the rest don't. But you have all these articles on COVID. What people perceived was important 2-3 years ago is very different than today with COVID. And for that reason, AI can use articles in the past to come up and generate something for today. But how do you know those articles were true or false? You don't. It affects the quality of the output is happening today. You look at a search and you search on Google, a lot of the results are inaccurate. Not the majority. Majority are great, but some are still inaccurate. AI can't say, I'm going to crawl these 10 articles, but not this 11th one because it's inaccurate. It doesn't know. And what that causes is it causes a lot of misinformation when you're using AI to create new content. And that's going to be hard for them to solve.
So I see you more excited about marketing becoming even more human than tech.
By far. We think that's where the opportunity lies right now. Doesn't mean you should ignore tech. Doesn't mean you shouldn't use it. It just means we think the opportunity lies in more humanizing marketing.
But you quote lots of numbers here. You quote numbers and data, and you study, right? You're digging into the analysis of the things. And at the same time, you're saying, I think marketing is going to be more human. So is marketing both?
I think marketing is data and numbers, but it's also creativity. And I think data and numbers can help guide. There is some gut as well. But humanizing data can help you make better informed decisions. But you still need to humanize at the end of the day. Not everything is about numbers. If people can't connect with you, you're not going to do as well. We think the biggest moat in marketing is a brand. What's the difference between Nike shoes and Reebok? Not the quality. Anyone can make high quality shoes with enough time and, resources. But people still buy Michael Jordan shoes because of that Jumpman logo. They don't even play basketball here in Brazil and they still buy them.
There's even a generation that didn't see him, right?
Yes, and they still buy them and they wait in line. And at the end of the day, it's because it's of that brand. It's not easy to replicate that. When you humanize and you connect with someone, that's what really creates an authenticity in the brand in the long run. And that's why I think humanization is super important because it helps build brands.
Now, many people ask me if to humanize a brand, they need to find a person like a Michael Jordan, like a famous person, like the owner of the business, like creating an avatar or how to humanize. Do you need to appear? Do you need to be the face of the company?
You don't need to be the face, but you can do what Nike did. Nike leveraged a lot of popular influencers to humanize their brand and make them more popular. From, LeBron James to Kobe Bryant to Michael Jordan. These are all examples of faces and people Nike used.
I saw that in another event where we were both speaking, you mentioned cases from Brazilian companies. Do you have any case in mind of a local company that you think that is doing a good job? I remember you mentioning Reserva or other brands you want to mention.
A brand that's doing really well here in Brazil that we love is Todos. Todos is a software company. They have a lot of products like RD Station, for example, that they ended up acquiring. And when you look at what they're doing with their marketing, they really try to figure out the pain points people have and they try to solve it. Another one is iFood. If you look at iFood, it's not just, hey, how do we get more people to order through our app? It's how do we make the experience better? And they were telling me about a scenario where you can order through iFood, but because the roads go such a long way, in some areas they're testing out drones because it would be more efficient to just deliver the products, and that way people can get whatever food they want or whatever products they want delivered to really delight the experience. Now, when they're thinking about that, they're not thinking about, okay, what is my cost of my drone? Is it worth it? In the long run, sure, they'll have to look at the economics, but in the short run, they're focusing on just delighting the customer.
And this is what makes the difference.
I believe so.
iFood CMO was here. By the
cool.
way, you are following here, please take a moment to watch the other episode. It was great.
Awesome.
So I also heard that you were in this LinkedIn event today. You posted the phrase saying that companies will invest more on podcasts than in blogs in the future. Can we talk more about it? Podcasts for brands?
Yeah, so they don't have to necessarily invest more. It was more so what I was getting at is there's roughly one blog for every 7.8 people in this world. There's roughly one podcast for every roughly 1,800 people. There's just not that many podcasts. There's roughly 4.2 million podcasts. The competition isn't as high. But on the flip side, with blogs, the competition is high. It doesn't mean you shouldn't blog. Ideally, you should do both. But if you could only choose one, I would start with podcasting. And the reason I would start with podcasting is it's a wide open ocean. It's not competitive. And that'll change over time.
And it's a long time that you have to hear a content, and you are there being engaged with an idea, right? With attention.
That's right. I was doing a webinar today with one of my team members, Nikki Lamb, and Nikki was like, yeah, my husband buys a lot of products based on whatever he hears from a podcast. And I don't know Nikki's husband, but I said, Nikki, I bet your husband has a college degree. She's like, yeah. And I bet you he has a really good job. And she's like, yeah. Salesforce did a study, and they found that most podcast listeners have a higher education and higher household income than blog readers. There's a lot of money to be made from podcasting. It's just a lot of people don't focus on it when they should.
But the wrong way of doing it is creating a podcast to publish pamonha, right?
Yes.
To scream out.
You got to create a podcast that provides value. The reason you do podcasting isn't so you can sell something. You first do a podcast to help others and bring education to them.
I love this idea.
And then the rest is a side effect, right? If you help people so much and you educate them so much where they've really seen a change in their life, great. Maybe you'll generate some revenue, but first focus on helping versus selling.
I love the idea of helping people and serving people. I really believe that marketing is not pushing a product for a person that doesn't need it, or charging a price that is not realistic, or creating qualities of the product that doesn't exist. Marketing is about relieving a pain. It's about serving. It's about helping somebody to have something, even if it is really small, better in their lives.
Yes, and people have marketing wrong because they believe it's, hey, let me just disrupt someone, grab their attention, and get them to buy from me. It doesn't work that way. It's easier to help them solve their problems and be there. When they're ready to buy from you, you're there. But you were there before they're ready to buy, and you help them out in whatever ways you can. So they're going to be more loyal to your brand.
Cool. What do you think about retail media? So we heard a lot, especially, in the retail movement, in the NRF event or in this area of expertise. I see both Walmart and Amazon showing to the world that it is possible to have an additional revenue by selling ads. And then all the retailers are trying to, let me try to rent a space in my wall. Let me try to use my CRM. Let's launch a loyalty program.
It's working really well. I was talking to someone who works at Coca-Cola and they're saying it works exceptionally well. But what we see is there's new kind of retail media. For example, you open up the fridges with all the soft drinks. You can see stuff in the window and advertisements, and you can even see how much of each quantity they have before you open up the fridge. It's kind of cool. End caps. People are starting to advertise there as well, more and more so. Look, retail media is huge. There's a lot of revenue in it. But again, it goes back to helping before just trying to disrupt.
Yes. If retail media is seen just as an additional space where you can rent and make your logo appear there, it's going to be just another...
It's going to be just another ad type that doesn't work as well.
We don't need ads. We need help.
Yes.
I like this phrase. Cool. I also heard that you mentioned many times that SEO is dead, right?
I say SEO is... People say SEO is dead, but, you know, there's 8.5 billion searches on Google each and every single day. So everyone says it's dead, but yet 8.5 billion searches happen a day just on Google.
It's not that dead.
It's not that dead. It's not sexy.
But it's going to change.
And it has been changing. SEO has changed from search engine optimization to search everywhere optimization. Now it's not just about Google. It's Google. It's ChatGPT that's recommending products, services, and brands. It's Gemini. It's Facebook. It's Instagram. It's TikTok. It's YouTube. The list goes on and on. A Google VP was saying when young people go to search now, a lot of times they search on TikTok. And Instagram over Google when they're looking for a place to eat.
Where do you search?
I still search on Google, but I'm also a little bit of the older demographic.
But it's really different, right? When you want to see what an hotel look like,
it's easier just to go to Google.
Then you go there, Google, and you search. But when you go to a social network, you see the images, you feel the environment.
It's a different. What I like about the social networks, because I do both, it gives me the authentic videos. So I may go to Google because it's easier to see the star rating and reviews and price and availability. But then I can go to Instagram or TikTok or YouTube and I can see the authentic videos of someone just saying like, hey, I got into this hotel. Look at what happened. It was a terrible experience. Or look, it was amazing. Look at what they did. Right? Those real videos help sell.
Do you think companies should really care about the ratings and the stars and the evaluations?
Absolutely. If people give you terrible stars, it means that they don't like your business, your product, your service.
What if people that are evaluating there are the wrong people? Are the people you don't want to target?
They could be the wrong people, but whether it's a bad review to the wrong person or the right person, it still hurts. You want to make sure you have good ratings and reviews.
Your reputation get hurt.
Reputation is everything.
Well, I see you learn a lot, Neil. And I imagine that you have a routine of learning or of studying. I don't know. What are your sources of learning? I mean, how do you like to learn?
Books, web articles, and my favorite one is actually in-person events and conferences, or even networking like this, just like in person, because people share their tactics, right? When we're in person here, we were talking before this, you're talking about some of the stuff you're doing at McDonald's. It's stuff like that is hard to get through online because you can talk more openly offline.
This is also my preferred one. Do you have books to recommend to our followers?
Well, this is the first book you guys should read if you haven't read it. And I would check it out. Because I'm a big believer that too many corporations are trying to make marketing fancy. I just met up with Unilever earlier today at LinkedIn and they were just like, yeah, we're doing all this high production marketing stuff. It's easy. I'm like, no, it's not. Low production is actually easier. Like, well, we just pay agency. I'm like, but an agency can do low production stuff too. No one wants to see Neymar in a commercial for soap that's where you spent $1 million or 5 million reais. What they want to see is Neymar just pulling out his phone and be like, dude, I had this problem with my skin. I just used this soap. It went away. Look at this. Check it out. It's great. I love it. It's like real. That's what they want.
And about the conversations you do you have like a target of a number of conversations you do a year, or how do you choose the people? What's your criteria?
Nothing. I just try to talk with interesting people. I don't care if someone's rich or poor, successful or not. I just try to talk to interesting people and learn along the way.
I used to say that this is also my preferred way of learning. I used to say that I love to learn with people that know more than I do. Yes. And many people, or maybe everybody, knows more than I do in something, right?
Yeah, exactly. Even kids, you learn a lot from just watching kids because the way they think about life is very different. And you know what? Eventually they'll be a buyer.
Do you think kids should be using phones and screens?
No. I think they're too young. There's a lot of bad influences on these devices that they don't need.
Sometimes I need to admit, sometimes I think on this and I say, you know what? Maybe when press was invented, we were thinking like, oh my God, I'm going to be right now with these papers. We're going to be contaminated. We're going to be looking at this. Or maybe when television was invented, part of the people were saying, no, the lights of the television are going to hurt our eyes. We're not prepared for that. Or when electricity was invented, like, no, we are not made for this. And then when I hear the discussion about screens and kids and even adults today, I need to admit I get in doubt, So...
well, they can adapt over time, but the content that they're seeing on a lot of these, it's not the screen that's their problem. It's the content that they're consuming. And a lot of it is rotting their brains. And there's also a lot of good content. You ask the TikTok president in the United States, is this the content you show in China? They say, no, in China, we show educational content that helps them with numbers and reading and makes them better. What do you show them in the US? Oh, we show them violence and people shooting others and all this other random stuff that they shouldn't see.
And this is what gets viral.
Correct.
Because there is also something in us that likes to see, strange content, right?
Yes, but kids don't need it when they're 2, 3, 4, 5 years old.
Okay. Going back to the content discussion, Brazilians love to get viral.
Okay.
We love to make a post that got 1 million views. And then it comes with the consequences, right? You get lots of followers that are not the right followers.
And then they don't engage in your normal content, and then it actually hurts your reach.
So what do you think about the quality of the content? Do you mind? Do you get concerned with the number of viralization that a content gets? Is it important for you?
No, I don't focus on virality. I focus on quality. And quality for your ideal customer. I would love to go viral with my ideal customer. It's much harder. But I don't care to go viral for the whole world to see.
So that the KPIs would be reaching the right person?
Correct.
And getting a positive feedback from them.
Correct. And generating revenue from the right person.
Great. So, Neil, maybe you said more controversial phrases that we didn't cover, but it was good enough for people to get excited today to know more about you, where people can find you and more contents about you.
Sure. We have an ad agency here in Brazil, NP Digital. We're actually global, but we have over 100, 150 people here in Brazil. My blog, Neil Patel, and all my social handles are Neil Patel. But thank you for having me. This was fun.
It was really, really a big pleasure to receive you here. I hope you have liked it. And please leave your comment. Please let us know if you like it, if you didn't like, if you feel that we are being authentic here. Let us improve. Give us your rating, your stars. Even if it is 1 star or 5 stars, it's going to be useful for us, right?
Yes.
So, thank you very much. Pessoal, muito obrigado. Até a próxima!